ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति ईश्वरो मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्।
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्।
ॐ सहना भवतु।
ॐ सहना भवतु।
सहनौ भुनक्तु।
सहनौ भुनक्तु।
वीर्यङ्करवावहै
सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै
मा विद्विषावहै।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं।
ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं।
व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम्। अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम्
भगवतीम्
अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्।
अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भगवद्वेषिणीम्।
यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः।
यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः।
वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः।
वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः।
ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः।
ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति योगिनः।
यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
यस्यान्तं न
विदुषाः
विदुषासुरगणाः
देवाय
देवाय
तस्मै
तस्मै
नमः।
नमः।
Last Sunday we have seen this verse. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agamapaino nityaha amtidikshasva bharata. We have seen last Sunday, matraha means sense organs, sparshaha, sense object. When they comes in their contact, then what they give? Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Daha. So pairs of opposite. It says we have total 4 at body level, physical body, at prana level, at mind level, and at intellect level. So first physical body level, Shita Ushna. Sometimes it is cold, sometimes heat. That at prana level, hunger and thirst. Sometimes we are thirsty, sometimes we are hungry. Then at mind level, Sukha Dukkham. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are in pain. And at intellect level, respect and some hatred. So all are, when matra sparshaha, then sense organ comes in contact with sense organs, they give different type of experience, pair of opposite, but one have to remember that all are agama apayinaha. They will come and again they will go. Agamaha, come. Apayinaha, they will go. And that's why anityaha, they are not permanent. They all are temporary. Tan titikshva bharata. That's why, hey Arjun, you have to all endure. Please endure everything. We have seen this verse also, and I have told also, verse 14 and 15th, that consider which person is eligible for self-knowledge. So one who has titiksha, endurance power, 4 pair of opposite, one who is small, that person is eligible for what? So Atma Jnana, that we have seen. Then after that, also this 15th was also very beautiful, and that we have seen. Yam hi navyathayanti te purusham purusharshava samadukham sukham dhiram somrutatvaya kalpate. Somrutatvaya saha amrutatvaya kalpate. That person saha amrutatvaya, he is fit for moksha. Amrutatvaya means liberation, but it is better moksha. That person is fit for moksha. One, ete purusham navyathayanti. Ete means pair of opposite. Sukham dukkham, shita ushna, mana apamana. All iske ete. Ete means they are dual, pair of opposite. Purusham, any person, navyathayanti. Samad dukkham sukham dhiram. One who is equal, one whose mind is same in both dukkham and sukham, that person is amrutatvaya kalpate. That person is eligible for what? Amrutatvaya. Then we have seen this verse. One person has asked one question. There is a bhakti yoga is also useful to us. Karma yoga can also helpful to us for what? Amrutatvaya kalpate. For moksha, karma yoga and bhakti yoga is beneficial. So from that question, I would like to clarify something that I would like to share with you. It is very important for self-knowledge. We should know, from very clearly what is what. and what we have to follow. So that's why I have prepared something, basic information of sadhana. People would like, there is a one, one word is people is used to say, I am doing sadhana. I am doing sadhana. So what is the meaning of sadhana? That's why I think, let me share with you. So what is sadhana? So I have written basic information of sadhana discussed in Gita. Basic information. It is in 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, everything it is given. But first, I have chosen karma. Karma means action. In English, karma means action. In 14th chapter, even 17th chapter, Bhagavan has discussed sattva, rajas and tamas. So what is sattvic karma? What is rajasic karma? And what is tamasic karma? First we will know what is their karma. Then first, what is sattvic karma? So one, selfless karma. A karma which we are not doing for ourselves is called sattvic karma. A karma, an action we are doing for others, helping others. That all actions are also sattvic karma. In sattvic karma, there is a no personal benefit. If I will help this person, then I will get something. That type of thinking is not there. It's called no personal benefit. It's also sattvic karma. According to Pujya Swamiji's language, a person who contributes more, consume less. That all karmas are also sattvic karma. And one, they are doing karma, but focus is where? Inner growth. My mind should be matured. For that purpose only, one who is doing karma, that all karma are considered sattvic karma. And in sattvic karma, maximum inner growth is maximum. Inner growth means our mind becomes more and more matured in sattvic karma. And in general, sattvic karma means all selfless action. There is no personal benefit. All action are considered as sattvic karma. Then what is rajasic karma? So rajasic karma means all selfish karma. If I will help someone, I will get this. It's called selfish karma. In rajasic karma, people never help others. They are not ready to others. They all are called rajasic. Purely individual orientation. There is nothing. They are doing all action. But for what? For their family or that person personally. No contribution. They never give any contribution, and their focus were what? Material growth. How much I can gain from world. So material growth is a focus. In sattvic karma, focus is inner growth. And in general, sattvic karma, inner growth means maturity, stagnant. It never increase, never decrease. It remains as it is. And rajasic karma, here is a selfless action, here is a self-full action. All karmas we are doing for what? For mind. They can purchase very, highly expensive shoes. But if some person who is really needs a chappal, so they will give only 10 rupees chappal. This type of is called rajasic karma. And last, what is tamasa karma? So, tamasa karma means person is not only selfish, but he or she doesn't mind to harm others for their benefit. That type of karma is tamasic karma. They are harmful to society. Their all karmas are harmful to society. And here, inner growth pulls down, it decreases, and harmful, they are doing harmful action. So in general, sattvic karma, selfless action, rajasic karma, selfful action, and tamasic karma, harmful action. In sattvic karma, maturity of mind, maximum. In rajasic karma, maturity of mind is stagnant, and in tamasic, maturity of mind comes down. They are all called karmas. Sattva, rajas, and tamas. Now, this all karma we can do in 3 ways. That you must be knowing, but still, I have to clarify everything. We can do by 3 ways. One is called kaikam. Another is called vachikam, and another is called manasam. In kaikam, we are using all 3, our mind, our tongue, and our body. If you are doing some Shodashopachara puja, suppose we are doing Shodashopachara puja, in that puja, we are using our limbs, we are chanting, we are using our tongue, and if our mind is with puja, then it's called kaikam. So this kaikam also we can do in 3 ways. Maybe sattva, maybe rajas, and maybe tamas. Kaikam we can do 3 ways. Same way, another karma is vachikam. In vachikam, physical body is not involved, but tongue is involved. Vacha, vani is involved, is called vachikam karma. Here, our tongue plus mind, all are called vachikam. If you are doing parayanam, suppose some Navahan Parayanam, Ramcharitamanasam, somebody is doing Gita Parayanam, Vishnu Sahasranam Parayanam, they all are considered as a vachikam. This vachikam karma also we can do 3 ways. Again, sattva, rajas, and tamas. If you are doing some parayanam, is sattvic. If you are giving lecture for some, only for our salary, nothing to help others, even not for students, then it becomes rajasam, and they are talking to kill someone. The same vachikam becomes tamas also. And last one is manasam, a karma which can in only mind is involved, nothing else, is called manasam. I have given example of meditation. But this manasam can be sattva, rajas, and tamas. I used to say, if some celebrities, some high-profiled murder needs premeditative mind, Rajiv Gandhi's murder, there are many. They also manasam. They have done something, but it considered as a tamas. So all kaikam, vachikam, manasam we can be do either sattvic, rajasic, and tamas. I have clarified this all karma because karma yoga, which karma we can do? Rajas, sattva, or tamas. So this is the karmas. Now, everybody says, I need a Atma Gnana, and I would like to do sadhana for self-knowledge. So which type of sadhana are involved? After this, if you want to ask, you can ask question. But it says, for getting knowledge, need 3 type of sadhana. One is called, everybody knows, karma yoga. Secondly, it says upasana yoga. And thirdly, it says jnana yoga. Karma yoga is also sadhana. Don't think sadhana is only sitting in front of Lord and chanting. But karma yoga, according to Gita, is the very primary sadhana in self-knowledge. Without karma yoga, person cannot assimilate jnanam. They can have everything by heart, even shastras, but it is difficult to assimilate self-knowledge. So what is karma yoga? So I have written, in karma yoga, there is a two word. One is karma and second one is yoga. So in karma, there is a two type of karma is involved. One, how to do karma. And second thing in karma, how to receive the result of karma. So in karma, two things. We are keep on doing karma, at the same time we are receiving the result of karma. Then if somebody asks, what is yoga? Then yoga is nothing. Yoga is not Patanjali yoga. But here, the meaning of yoga means attitude. In which attitude we are doing karma, in which attitude we are receiving the result of karma. And on this base only, karma yoga theory this is the foundation of karma yoga theory. So I have said, it will come in second chapter, third chapter, everything. But first, in karma yoga, which karma will come? Sattva, Rajas or Tamas. Of course, only Sattva karma will come in this karma yoga. So all two is not necessary in karma yoga. So Sattva karma, and that Sattva karma also, how we are doing. So it says, the yoga means do karma is the offering to Lord. In Puja Swamiji used to say, Ishwar Arpana Buddhya. In Sanskritam it says, like we are offering everything to Lord. With that mind, whatever we are doing is puja only. One thing also I would like to share with you, there is a one word, it's called love. It's a universal name, love. If we have love for elders, or what we have our revered teacher, if we have love for them, what we are doing? Do we say, teacher, I love you? We never say. What we say? Reverence. The reverence is, really speaking, a love for our elders. But it's called love only. If we love our small child, there are small kids, small child, and if we love them, what is, I don't know in English, you maybe tell me, but in Sanskritam it says, with is called mamata. I don't know what we called. Do you have any English name for Mega?
Affection, Swamiji.
Affection, yeah, affection. But affection also but for
Motherly love.
motherly love, something we say motherly love, whatever. So we have love for our child, but we say we love you, but still we say we have affection, motherly love. If we are equal friends, then we say we love each other. We have affection, we like it. That love, if we have with Ishvara, then what is the name of that love? It's called
Bhakti.
bhakti, devotion. So whenever we say bhakti, so really speaking, bhakti is not action, but bhakti is a devotion in our mind. It's called love towards Ishvara. Devotion to Ishvara, in Sanskritam it says bhakti. Now why I have used this? Now karma. We used to get up little bit early. We go to our puja room. We sit in the front of our altar. We do whatever some chanting, whatever we are doing. We say we are doing puja. This is generally we are say it's puja. But during puja, during this doing, so in puja what we do? Either we chant, means vachikam karma. If we do pranam, physical karma, during this puja, if our mind is not with Lord, is roaming somewhere else, so does we consider it's a puja, or is it like a mechanical some action? Really speaking, puja is only when our total mind with devotion, if we are doing. I used to share one incident happened when I was very young. At that time, I don't know Rudra, but our one priest, he knows Rudra. And one person has to sit to do this Rudrabhishekam. And that priest has come with one book with all Ashtottara, Rudrabhishekam, everything. Then a person who has to sit in puja, he asks that priest, you will finish this whole note, this notebook, you will finish. So he doesn't interested into puja. Still he was sitting in the puja. So can we say he is doing with love? No. He's doing what? It's just somebody has asked, you have to sit because he is going to marry with some person, then he has to sit. But this is not puja. What he is doing is only kriya, one type of action, but it is not puja. But if one person, he has no time to sit in front of Ishvara, but still he or she loves Ishvara very much, and he or she goes to their job, and they are doing their job with total devotion with Ishvara, but still he or she is doing, so that action also considered as a puja. So puja, really speaking, is not only sitting in front of Lord, one deity, and doing puja. In puja, what we are doing? We are offering flowers to Ishvara, we are offering milk, whatever, we are doing something. Same action. If we are going to our job, if we are doctor, we are checking patients. If we are professor, we are giving lectures. Whatever we are doing, but before starting anything, if we do sankalpa, I am doing this work, but this will be offered to Ishvara, so that your whole work become puja. So that is called karma yoga. So karma yoga is not nishkam karma yoga. Really speaking, whenever we say not nishkam, but we are sakam only, but our kamana, our desires were with Ishvara. So whatever we are doing puja on anything, but we are doing with what? Whole devotion, then it's called karma yoga. Karma means action. If we are doing our job in office, but with total mind, I am doing this puja for what? So we are doing for puja, I am doing this job, I will offer to Ishvara, that job also become puja. So whenever we say bhakti is not kriya. Bhakti is only in our mind, what we have devotion towards Ishvara. With devotion, if we are cleaning our bathroom, this bathroom cleaning is also puja. If we are cooking with total devotion, that cooking is also puja. So whatever we are doing with the total mind with Ishvara, everything is puja only. So somebody says there is a one bhakti yoga is separate, but really speaking, every action we are doing with bhakti is puja only. So it is no different anything. So karma yoga always including bhakti. Without bhakti, karma yoga cannot possible. Somebody says you do karma yoga, but without love, how can it possible? Without love to Ishvara, how can it possible? Somebody says Nishkam Karma Yoga. Shankaracharya ji has written in his Bhashyam, even Murkha, one who is totally dumb, won't do any action without any result. Nishkam means without result, we can't do anything. We are doing karma yoga. We need what? Chitta Shuddhi. Ichha only. But it is pure Ichha. So whenever we say karma yoga is what? The first thing is we are doing karma. And how we are doing to karma? Each and every karma is nothing but it is offering to Ishvara. That our attitude makes karma to karma yoga. That our attitude to see each and every karma as an offering to Ishvara, that is called karma yoga. So that's why once it is a small story was there. Once Narada has asked Lord Vishnu or Krishna, who is the best devotee in your mind? He asked Krishna. Then Vishnu says, there is a particular one village, there is a farmer. That farmer is the best devotee of mine. Then Narada thought, in Vishnu will say some big priest, maybe his big devotee. But he says, why Vishnu? Lord Vishnu is talking about this farmer. I have to check his lifestyle, how he is living. So Narada went to that village and he started watching what that farmer used to do every day. So he has just observed that farmer gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He just takes bath. He has only one photo of the Lord Ishvara. He just light up the lamp. With a folded head, he do some prayer only for 10 minutes. And he has his breakfast and he just started to farm. Whole day, he did work in his farm. Again, in evening, he came back. And again, he washed his feet. Again, he has lighted the lamp. He does pranam to Ishvara. He has his dinner and he went to sleep. Then Narada says he's doing nothing. No japa, nothing. Then how can he become big devotee? Then again he went back to Lord Vishnu and he asked Vishnu, how is become your devotee? Then he says, in farm, whatever he is doing, he has done sankalpa. Today, whatever I am doing is nothing but offering to Ishvara. That is each and everything is only offering. So in people's mind, they think only going to temple is bhakti. But really speaking, in Gita's perspective, there is not only bhakti. You are going to temple, you doing puja is bhakti only. But if you are doing with total mind with Ishvara, same with that mind, if you are doing your job, is also bhakti only. So that's why karma yoga is, if we are doing puja with total mind, is bhakti. Again, you go back to our routine job, that's also bhakti. So bhakti is not separate thing. Bhakti is only whatever we are doing with total love with Ishvara is called bhakti only. So karma yoga and bhakti yoga is not different. Bhakti yoga is only karma yoga because yoga means attitude towards Ishvara. The meaning of yoga, here Krishna says, that's why one thing, Bhagavan, it will come in second chapter also, but karma is offering to Lord. Whatever we are doing, it is not for ourselves. So selfless. So sattvic, it becomes sattvika, and that again is offering to Ishvara. So that one part of doing karma. And second thing also, by every second, every moment, we are receiving different type of experience in our mind. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes unhappy, sometimes we are angry. All different type of experience we are feeling in our mind. How we are taking that, our result of action. What we are experiencing is nothing, but it is called our result of our action. Karma phalam. In Sanskritam, they say karma phalam. What we are experiencing in our mind is nothing but karma phala. But how we are taking that, then it says, except as a prasada. Prasada means whatever comes from Ishvara, from temple, we call is a prasada. In Tirupati Balaji, if we offer a very big donation, then big laddu will come. And if now is become now small, no, Tirupati Balaji also, if you offer some small amount, then small laddu will come. But still it is a prasadam. We will take with same bhavana after what is coming from inside Garbhagruha. From inside is Ishvara's prasada. When Pujya Swamiji sent me here, Porbandar, then I don't know from where to start. So I have found one temple. It's a Satyanarayan temple. And there is a hall. I have asked the trustee of that temple, can I take some classes? Then he allowed me. So first I used to go to temple and I do pranam every day. So sometimes priest happy. So he used to give me laddu. Sometimes he is not happy. He used to give me some tulasi. Sometimes he is not happy. He is called charanamritam. Only water. But I can't ask, give me that laddu only. We have to accept whatever comes from priest inside is a prasadam. Same way, Ishwar is a karma phala data. Ishvara, if he is a karma phala data, so whatever comes in our life from Ishvara only. Sometimes happiness comes is also from Ishvara. Sometimes what we don't like some situation, that comes also from Ishvara. If you keep our mind like that, then it's called prasada buddhi. We are accepting, we are receiving everything as a prasada of Ishvara. So it's called prasada. Because in both, Ishvara is involved. We are doing karma with Ishvara Arpana Buddhya. We are offering to Ishvara. Same way, we are receiving whatever result of action, of our own action, but how we are receiving is a prasada. So here also Ishvara is involved. So karma yoga is nothing but bhakti only. Without devotion, we can't accept prasada. Without devotion towards Ishvara, we can't do each and every karma as an offering to Ishvara. So bhakti yoga is equal to karma yoga. There is not two separate things. That's why Bhagavan says, first sadhana. And I used to say, the most difficult sadhana is karma yoga. Because day-to-day life, we have to interact with many people. They are not nice to us. Still we have to deal with them. But if we deal with, we are dealing with not that which I don't like that person, but we are dealing with that person is Ishvara. I am talking, I am doing whatever is with Ishvara's Arpana Buddhya, then our karma, we don't have any problem. Same way, sometimes somebody offer garland, sometimes somebody offer some stone also, but still prasadam. That mind is help to keep our mind equal. Sama sukha dukkha. Karma yoga helps to keep our mind balanced. If person directly goes to 3 years course and he started teaching and he thinks if he's sitting inside some cave, so our mind is not become mature. For maturity of mind, we need interaction. Because without interaction, we don't know how our mind will react. When we are among the people, some are nice to us, some are not nice to us, still we can balance our mind. Then only we can understand how is our mind. So that's why difficult sadhana among all is karma yoga. And for grihastha is more challenging because they have to face different type of people in their life. So Bhagavan says, and what is the benefit of karma yoga? So I have written chitta shuddhi. And chitta shuddhi means no raga dvesh, more or less. Generally, we don't have then any hatred or whether over attachment to anyone. We are doing for everyone, but without over attachment or without over hatred. So karma yoga helps this one. And again, I have read yoga is nothing but a bhavana attitude. How we are looking at karma and how we are receiving the karma result, karma phala. That both combination is called yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. It will come in second chapter. Yoga karmasu kaushalam and samatvam yoga uchyate. Yeah, both samatvam yoga uchyate and yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga karmasu kaushalam is meant for how to do karma, and samatvam yoga uchyate is how to receive karma. But at that time we will see. But yoga means how we are taking karma and how we are accepting the result of karma. The combination of both is called karma yoga. So this is the first sadhana of gaining self-knowledge. And these all sadhanas are compulsory. No one say this is optional. Each and every sadhana one has to go through. In this life, past life, we don't know. But each and every person has to go through this life. So first sadhana is called karma yoga. Then second sadhana will be discussed by Krishna in 6th chapter. This is called dhyana yoga, but it says upasana yoga. Generally, in people's mind, they think upasana means to do something in front of Ishvara. Do some activity in front of Ishvara, then they say, I am doing upasana. But according to classical definition of upasana, is called meditation. If we know Gayatri, Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, if we can do only by mental chanting, so that Gayatri becomes meditation. But if we are doing loudly, then it is upasana. This is just chanting. So meditation is nothing but what we are doing loudly, if we can do in mind only. It's called upasana. We can, that meditation, we can do for our personal God, means Ishta Devata, and then otherwise we can do same meditation for Ishvara is everywhere. There are different type of meditation. But in general, we are doing meditation only for Ishvara only. Even they say meditation gives Jnana Yogyata Prapti. So this meditation helps us for achieving, makes us prepare for gaining knowledge. Jnana Yogyata Prapti hi meditation. We have seen one type definition, but we will see later. The definition of meditation is given dhyanam. Classical definition we have seen, I think, in Tattva Bodha. But still we will see next time, but right now not. So chanting of japa in mind only. Even Pujya Swamiji used to say, our tongue should touch to the palate. It should not move. And if we can chant, then it's the best meditation. If we know Gayatri Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, but you try sometime, if you're doing chanting in mind, our tongue will inside, it will move. But it should not move, only from mind. If we can chant, then only it's called meditation. And what are the benefits of meditation? So it says, our concentration will increase by doing meditation. We become introverts. Most of people are always extrovert. But when we do meditation, so it makes us something introvert. It says, Karma Yoga's benefit is Chitta Shuddhi, but disadvantage, we are more and more extrovert. We need people. Without people, if we can't live, then it's also a problem. So this Upasana help us. We can live alone also. Without any people, we can be happy. So introvertness. So second, the benefit of Upasana is introvertness. And third is our mind will open up. It says when you do Upasana like Purusha Evedagum Saram, Ishavasamidam Saram. Here everything is Ishvara. That Sarvatra Ishvara, I am meditating, I am just invoking in my mind. Then our mind is also become large, vast, like Ishvara. Ishvara can accept everyone, same way our mind opens up slightly. It's not immediately everything, but we start to accept people as they are. Otherwise, we always see the fault of other person. But when we are sincerely doing meditation, then our minds will open up. We never see any fault. Whatever there, Ishwaras Datta. So that is the benefit of Upasana. So first sadhana is Karma Yoga. Second one is Upasana Yoga. And third sadhana is called Jnana Yoga. And in Jnana Yoga, one who knows, they more or less they know all, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So say in Jnana Yoga, 3 factors are involved. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. What is Shravanam? So Shravanam, it is given also in definition, to listen scriptures. Shastra Abhyasa, but consistent, seriously, length of time, and under the guidance of competent teacher. These all conditions are necessary for Shravana. Why consistent, Sometimes I have found some students says, I am a student of Vedanta, I have learned before 3 years, now I have dropped. Again, after 1 year, they pick up. It doesn't make sense. It should be consistent. Then serious. Sometimes person is not serious. Let us sit. Let's see what happens. Then length of time. For long time. It's not only for 3 months, 5 months. It is a length of time. We keep on. Punah Shravanam Kuryat. It says we should punah. Again and again we have to do Shravanam. Through what? Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru. A guru or teacher should be Shrotriya, means he knows the scriptures with all nuances. Like he or she knows even grammar, he or she knows even reason. Everything is called Shrotriya. In Brahmanishta means one who knows Brahma. They totally engross in Brahmanishta. But they say, if both are available, then well and good. But only Brahmanishta doesn't make sense. To understand Shastra, we need Shrotriya, not Brahmanishta. Because Brahmanishta, you or she used to say, here everything is Brahma. You have what? What is worry? Because Brahmanishta doesn't have any worry. They have no problem in the life. But Shrotriya, they say, you just sit. Ramana Maharshi is a very good person, totally Brahmanist, but he cannot teach. Ramakrishna Paramas, totally Brahmanist, but somebody says, you teach me all every Shastra, but he cannot teach. But Shrotriya means one who knows Shastra also, who can give the vision, one who can unlock each and every word of Shastra and Gita. It's called Shrotriya. That guru is beneficial to us, not Brahmanist. Pujya Swamiji used to say, he said, I used to live in 1964 to 1969 in Rishikesh. He learned Brahma Sutra, Sanskritam, Panini, everything. Then once I met one guru, he is highly qualified, he totally Brahmanist. And when I went and I told him, can you teach me? Then he said, what is the teaching is not necessary. Teaching is Brahma. You are Brahma, I am Brahma, everything is Brahma, no need. So it's not helpful to us, but Shrotriya, Guru, is helpful to us. So Shravana means to listen scriptures, consistent, serious length of time under the guidance of competent teacher. It's called Shravanam. Then after Shravanam, there is a Mananam. And what is the Mananam? If we listen proper scriptures, then definitely we have doubt. Then we raise the doubts and Guru will remove our doubts. Then that portion is called Manana. Really speaking, three things, Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. Shastra only talk about 3 things. Jiva means ourself. Then word, Jagat. Last one is Ishvara. we have information of this totally opposite. What Shastra gives to totally opposite. Somebody says Jiva is home. We say we are small, insignificant. That we have our notion. What is Jagat? We say Jagat is what we are experiencing. Is Jagat really true? And where is Ishvara? Then we say it is sitting some up, is sitting. Then Shastra says Ishvara is not sitting up, he is everywhere. Everything is Ishvara only. And what we are giving importance to Jagat, that is really is like a dream. It is not true. Jagat word is totally like a dream. It is not true. And Jiva, we always say we are insignificant. Tvam Purnaha. Shastra says you are totally Purnaha. When while listening, is everything comfortable to us. But when we start thinking, then we have doubts. Then we ask the doubt, we raise the question, and teacher will remove our doubts. That portion is called Manana. Then we will accept what Shastra says. Jiva, we are not poor, helpless Jiva, but we are not separate from Ishvara. Jagat, which we are giving too much importance. That Jagat is not real, really speaking, but that Jagat word also, all universe also, like a dream. And Ishvara is everywhere. After listening this, both sides we have no doubt. Mananam is an intellect level. Shravanam we are listening, but what is Nididhyasanam? Third sadhana is called Nididhyasanam, and Nididhyasanam is our mind our intellect has accepted whatever Shastra says, but still our mind is like rebelling. He says, I am not ready to accept what the Shastra says. Then we have to sit again and again. Assimilation of knowledge is called Nididhyasana. This is also one type of meditation, but in meditation, we are not doing japa, but we are remembering all teaching. It's called Nididhyasana. And what are the benefits of Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasana? So I have written here, by doing Shravanam, Ajnana Nivritti, our ignorance of self will go. By doing Mananam, our doubt regarding ourselves, Jagat and Jiva, that will go. And by Nididhyasanam, Viparita Bhavana, erroneous notion regarding our body, mind, sense complex, that will go. So Viparit means opposite. Bhavana means our pattern. That will nivritti. And what is Viparita Bhavana, you know? I would like to give simple example. Right now we are living in ashram, but before that I have one small apartment, and it was in 6th floor. I was living there, but it needs some renovation. So I have found out in 3rd floor, I have found one apartment. We shifted there, and we have given 6th floor for what? For renovation. So whenever I used to go in elevator, I used to press 6 number button. So that lift will go up. But after renovating, I used to go in 3rd floor. I know everything. That renovation work is going on. Right now we are in 3rd floor. But if my mind is not with me, unknowingly my finger used to go on 6th only. It's called Viparita Bhavana. Even we know everything. Same way Shastra says you are not body. But still, we always identify ourselves with the body. Shastra says Sukham Dukham is really, it doesn't mean for you. But still we are giving importance. All are called Viparita Bhavana. It will also take time to go. So these all are, and each and every sadhana is compulsory for each and every seekers. Somebody says, I am only interested in Jnana Yoga, I don't like Karma Yoga. So it doesn't work. Without, that's why Pujya Swamiji has even one sentence. Please bring Ishvara in your life. Because there are many people, they know everything by heart, all scriptures, they can teach also, but whenever they used to take also antidepressive tablet. So what is the meaning of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana? Why they have to take, depression tablets, antidepressive tablet? Because they are not go through this Karma Yoga. First, without this, even Upasana doesn't make sense. Without both of these, this Shravana Mananam Nididhyasana, if people are intelligent, they can understand, but we cannot see in their life. Only reason, because all these sadhanas, that person doesn't go through. So total, really speaking, 3 sadhana, each and every person has to go through. It's not hurry. With our own pace, with all our enjoyment of word, we can go. But we have to go through. There is no option inside. There is a paper, there is no option. We have to go. So this is, it says, this way we can have, not in this life, next life, whatever. But I used to say, there is a main national highway. In India, they say national highway. If you take from Porbandar national highway, directly it will go to Delhi. If we go for same way, this is a national highway. Karma yoga, upasana yoga, karma yoga, national highway. If we follow this, directly we reach to our destination. But if sometimes we bypass upasana, sometimes we bypass karma yoga, then direct if we go, it doesn't make sense. So this is the total idea. Everything will be discussed in Gita. Everything will come. So now, do you have any question regarding this? Yeah, please ask. Now I can unlock everything. Huh? Yeah, please.
Swaminiji, sadhana here means process or experience.
I used to say there is a sadhana. Even I asked Swamiji, do you know sadhanam? Do you know the sadhanam? The meaning of sadhanam means instrument. Somebody is writing somewhere. Who is writing? Somebody is writing, I don't know. Or whatever this. But one is sadhanam, means instrument. Then another name is sadhyam. Our destination is called sadhyam. And if you are a seeker, it's called sadhaka. So this one Triputi, sadhaka is a person, he has a sadhyam. To get that goal, sadhyam we can goal as a goal. Sadhanam is the instrument. Sadhaka is a person. Here instrument. But for sadhaka, this is a goal. Through this instrument, he is getting sadhana, but that kriya, sadhana, that whole process is called sadhana, like a bhojana. In front of we have food, we are eating. That eating is called bhojana. Same way, this is the whole process of sadhaka for getting a goal. It is not a one-day process. It's a long process. This process is called sadhaka. Sadhana. Is it clear?
Just to clarify, the sadhaka, which is the person,
Sadhaka
uses
is a seeker. If we say
seeker. Seeker. Okay. The seeker uses the sadhana
the seeker has some destination, goal.
symbol.
Goal. This is called sadhyam. Goal is called sadhyam in Sanskrit. And through goal, we can't, these all are karma yoga, these all are instrument. Through instrument, we can claim this sadhana. But this is the whole process, no? We are doing karma yoga as an instrument. But this is no wonder. This is a for whole life. This whole life becomes sadhana. With that mind, what we are doing is called sadhana. So what we are doing particularly for length of time is called sadhana.
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 I have written here also. Yes, sadhana. So always three things. Suppose sadhana, sadhaka, sadhya, sadhanam. Let us say, suppose you are a doctor. Then if you are in first year, still you are in process of doctor, you know. So whole 4 years or 4 and 5, whatever, is called sadhana of doctory. What you have done for 4 years in college for sadhana of become a doctor. So seeker, then goal, and one is instrument. Seeker called sadhaka. Goal called sadhya. Instrument called sadhanam. So suppose you have decided, I will do some japa for 10,000 times. Suppose 24,000 Gayatri. So you have used, you are a seeker, you are sadhana. What is your goal? 24,000. And you are doing sadhana was Gayatri. But whole process for 24,000, it will take time, no? It's called sadhana. So you can say for 24 days, I am doing sadhana. Any question, Raviji?
Swaminiji,
Yes.
oh, there is one part you mentioned which I thought was interesting, something about Nishkama.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Shankaracharya ji commented about that. And so I have a question about that. So is it possible to take somewhat of a selfish action? Let's say I want to progress in my job or get promotion or get more recognition. But then when I do that, can I offer it to Ishvara and say, you know?
Yeah, they say even there are two type of karma yoga. One is called sakama karma yoga and one other is called nishkama karma yoga. If someone is a young person, that young person, they have their all, you know, they need some achievement, something. But he or she, they are doing, keep on their achievement. But whatever comes, first they offer, then they use, then they also call karma yoga.
I see.
And same thing, if we are using for, even when we are child, I have used to, in our home, what we are doing, if some new clothes comes, we never, but whatever new item comes, first we have to offer to altar. Lord won't wear this, but still we have to offer, then only we used to wear. So whatever new thing will come in our house, first we used to offer, then we use it. Same way, whatever we have, what our income has come, whatever new car has come, bungalow has come, whatever, first we offer, then we say, now we are using. So that is also called karma yoga. But still, in our corner of mind, Ishvara is there.
But is there a progress in that, Swaminiji, in the sense that
It says,
as I
you know,
as
if
I
you are-
progress more, the kind of actions that I choose to do
no,
become less and less self-centered.
yeah. Then what will happen? They can keep on doing like this. They are offering to Ishvara. They are earning more. They have profit. Then after some time, the mind will start thinking, I have done enough for myself. Let me do some for others also.
Hmm.
Then it will start.
Hmm.
It will come only.
Okay.
Definitely it will come.
Swaminiji, the Viparita Bhavana
Yeah,
is due to all our samskaras, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah. Wrong, erroneous bhavana, notions. Viparit means opposite. Bhavana means erroneous pattern.
so that's what you say. Even if you get jnana, ajnana nivrittihi and samsaya nivrittihi, if you can't stay with it, you will get, you're bound to suffer from Viparita Bhavanas.
You know, that's our upasana means meditation is for jnana yogyata praptihi, but this nididhyasana is for jnana nishtha praptihi.
Yeah.
Not jnana, but we need nishtha, means we totally engross, total
Yeah.
assimilation. Without nididhyasana, assimilation cannot possible.
So this there's no exotic or fantasy notion of abiding. This nishtha is not abiding some magical thing.
No.
It's just you
Yeah.
just stay with it all the time.
Yeah.
Stay with Ishvara all the time.
Mm.
So in
It's amazing what-
Nididhyasanam, for example, Swaminiji, suppose you take a verse or a part of a verse from Gita, which says you are not the body,
Yeah.
and you can contemplate upon it, I mean, as a meditation.
Yeah, na jayate mriyate va kadachit. That one verse you understand, and you try to understand in your mind. It's called nididhyasana. Veda vinashinam nityam ya ena jamajamapyayam katham sapurusha partham kam ghatayate hantikam. Then we have to put ourselves. Who can kill us? That becomes nididhyasana. Avyaktoyam. All Gita's 11 to 25th verse, is for nididhyasana. More or less. Any question now? Meda? No?
I think that's why Swami TV used to say, you don't need to become anything, you just be.
Yeah. Need not to become any. We are Ajaha is a Siddha. Need not to become any.
Yes, I think Swami Vitatmananda says praptyasya prapti here something.
Yeah.
Praptasya prapti. He is also very
Yeah.
yeah, praptasya prapti.
There is nothing to accomplish because it's already been accomplished,
So there
but
is,
we have to own up to that fact.
what I have said, no, sadhana, sadhya. Sadhaka, sadhana, and sadhya. But to know ourselves, we are is a siddha. It is not to be.
That is the to me, Swaminiji, like the more I do this, that is the greatest paradox in life. I mean, you are this infinite millionaire with infinite wealth,
Yeah.
but we feel like we are beggars, and it's like how that happens. It's amazing thing to me.
I think we get carried away playing that role very well, so we get perfected, like play the beggar so nicely all the time.
No, this
Instead of
We have to.
because from not this birth, from whenever we are jiva, we have identification with our body and mind only. So it takes time to go over. Even though in spite of knowing everything, still we feel sometime helplessness inside. That's why Ishvara, without Ishvara, it doesn't make sense.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Help us, lose the samskaras. Samskaras are very, very, they can be serious dua questions.
True, yeah. Yes, Sajani?
Under Jnana Yoga, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, in class, after listening to the teacher, I have doubts and I ask a question. Then the teacher gives an answer, and then that answer then makes me have another question.
It's good.
And then it's good. And then teacher gives another answer, and that answer gives me another question. And at what point in that class do I stop asking questions and then wait for the next class to ask questions?
I think when you understand 100% clear, no, then it's a cessation of questions and doubts. It will come. If you are raising questions, the best thing, because without thinking, question cannot be arise. To have a question, doubt, you have to think first, no? So if you are thinking, then you are with the Shastra. Then one day will come, Shastra will give all your doubts and no more question. So it is nice. Questioning is very nice.
One day will come, and I hope that day comes in each
Come,
class.
I didn't know this day, but they will come.
They will come, yeah.
Yeah.
In the present class, like when we're in Gurukulam or here right now in online class,
Yeah.
everything you say, then I have question, then I ask question, or someone asks question, answer comes, another question comes. How can we tell the mind, okay, for today that's enough, then next time you can ask again?
But I always love. Somebody asks, I love. It's not bad. You are asking question is the best thing. Whatever you are asking question is not useless. All are meaningful. And it will be help to not only you, it will be helpful to others also. One are sitting here. There is no problem. Is it good?
It's good.
And they will come. Then everything is clear, no? All Shastra is clear. There is no.
I have to learn Sanskrit first, Swamiji.
No, I definitely say to know for self-knowledge, really speaking, without Sanskrit knowledge also, one can be Atmagyan. Raman Maharshi, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, there are many, even for Gujarat also, Tamil also, there are many Atmagyani. They never done 3 years course. Still they are Gnani, better than us. So it is not necessary to learn Sanskrit is compulsory. If you know, very good. If you don't know, but your Chitta Shuddhi is there, it's the best.
Swamini ji, last week you said you'll tell the story of Ashwatthama. Yeah. Now even I'm curious, but maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, it's 9:32 already.
Yeah.
We all are waiting.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I will tell, definitely. You don't know, then I will tell. Yeah. Shall we do Purna Mother?
Yeah.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Amidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.